All right, what is up, traders? Hope everybody's doing well. Going over a win today, taken in the first day of macro. Nice trade today, kind of freshening up the price action from the previous 2 weeks. So let's get straight into it. Bias coming to the session, I was bearish, kind of waiting for this kind of buy side to be swept on AS and NQ, and then a target of the lows. We had a lot of trailing sell side down below, so that was kind of my bias, or that was what I was targeting. Put on 2x speed. So here, macro hits, we impulse lower, inverse the 930 value gap, and then I enter off this impulse lower. We do have a break of structure on ES, so break of structure on ES, fair value gap. That same low is here on NQ, I believe. So that's why I didn't wait for a break of structure on NQ. I was fine with us inversing this FVG, which is the 930 FVG, right? And then I entered off of a retracement into it. Stop loss above midpoint of the wick right here, which I'll measure in a second. All right, so measure midpoint, putting stop loss right above it, and then targeting the ultimate sell side right here for a over 5R trade. We do sit in this range for a couple minutes. I sit in drawdown for like 3-4 minutes before price pushing lower, so I'm gonna speed it up a little bit because this is quite the boring part. Keeping my stop loss above midpoint, right, of that wick up top. See, we get pretty close to my stop loss. So kind of measuring the midpoint of the wick on the 5-minute. We kind of barely reached it, just barely tapped it. And then here we start to roll lower. We impulse lower from here. I wanted to scale in here, but the reason why I didn't was because if you look at AS, it was just barely, it was not moving at all. And because as well we had news at 10, so we were coming in closer for news or to news. And because ES was not moving at all, I had a feeling that we might, with news, spike up on ES, because look at ES and look at NQ, look at the difference. So I had a feeling we might sweep one more time in terms of buy side on ES. So news might spike up, and then that will make NASDAQ or NQ push, and maybe like I had a feeling that we might sweep this high, and have an SMT with that high, and then we'll lower. So that was why I didn't scale in right here. I was just a bit hesitant because we were approaching news now, and ES is not moving at all. It's just consolidating. Look at NQ, look at ES. So just had this feeling that we might wick up, and I don't want to be too heavy in my position. So we do stay in this range. I do mitigate stop, so I move it to this high, obviously, because we make a new high. Move it to above midpoint of this wick. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit here. Just cycling through the time frames. So news hits. Let's see news. Right. So this was crazy. So news hits. We gap lower. My screen freezes. We gap lower here. At this point, I'm like, holy shit. I'm not gonna cash out because of my draw is still not met. But what I do is just simply move to break even. Yeah, so risk free now because I don't want to have risk on the line now with this ridiculous push lower. So I just leave it as is. But I hold obviously for my take profit. I do end up taking 3 of my 5 contracts at this low. Move this at this low right here, and then my final TP was at the ultimate low, which I end up cashing before we reach it because, and I'm glad that I did because we never reached that low, and I cashed because the remaining profit was like not where it was about like $50-$60 after I took the partial, and I was basically risking because I was at break even, so I was basically risking like $400. You guys will see in a second. I was risking $400 for like an extra $56. So it wasn't worth the risk for me, so I just cashed out fully. And I'm very glad that I did, because we never end up reaching that sell side on NASDAQ. So that's a time where being content pays, not being greedy. So speed it up, speed it up, speed it up. Here I'm measuring midpoint of this wick, kind of seeing, I want to see us close below midpoint and then hold that to show weakness in price. So here we'll close it below it in a second, and then after we close below it, we never close above it, I believe, and that kind of was a nice sign. So here we close above it, below it. Now I want to see price push lower because we closed below midpoint. So now we start to impulse lower, remove it. I think I show my stop loss a bit lower in a bit, but yeah. So here I'm kind of getting ready to take off 3. So that's the sell side right there. And in a second, I'll just, so I put a limit buy of 3 right there, and then you'll see what I mean in a second where I cashed out fully. So right here, I was basically risking, I believe, let me see how much I was up. So I'm up 466. My full TP is 528, so that's $60, right? $62, and I'm basically risking $360 or $350 for an extra $60. So is it worth it? No. So I end up closing fully. So that's why I closed up fully, and I'm glad that I did, because we never reached that low. So here I'm trying to close fully. It doesn't close, so I just close manually, and I'm very glad that I did so. So yeah, that's going to be it. Nice trade. Hope you guys found this insightful. If you want pre-session analysis on NASDAQ, free Discord is in the description. Also, private mentorship is link for that is in the description. All right, peace out.